pretty good. I want to bring in Main Street Asset Management, the CIO there, Aaron Gibbs. And Aaron, I think one of the ironies of some air coming out of the so-called Trump bump is that a lot of it's been because of the cabinet picks, right? I mean, they're spooking a lot of investors. And I think this is a moment of honesty. Like, corporate America loves federal government spending. Largesse. The more they spend on $500 hammers and $5,000 toilet seats, the better it is for corporate America. And that is reflected sometimes in the stock market.
Absolutely. I mean, in general, it does lead to greater GDP growth. It also can lead to higher inflation, which is the other side, which we've been struggling with this year. But I think, particularly when we're also talking about some of the tariffs that they're trying to implement, that is concerning for some of the profit margins for some of more of the cyclicals as well as the durables. So I think, how our expectations change with respect to what actually gets implemented, how this plays out over the next few years, that's going to be remain to be seen, and we're going to have to stay on top of it. I'm saying I think the Trump bump is a little overplayed right here. We've gotten a little overextended, and I think for the next few weeks, you could definitely do a short-term trade and do a little more diversification, taking some profits where you had some big wins.
Okay, and listen, I'm with you. I mean, I think we closed out about 2 or 3 positions today. Some of these names I think got that extra oomph out there, and you could be honest with yourself. Hey, it got an extra oomph. One area that we've talked about is small caps.
Right.
Now, the small caps, they got that bump, that election bump, and they started pulling back. And again, I think part of this, though, were comments from Jay Powell on rate cuts, right?
That was all about the rate cuts.
Right. So how does someone position? You like small caps.
I still do, because when you look at their relative valuations compared to the large caps, that spread between the two has gotten smaller and smaller, very slowly, but it is shrinking. And part of that is expectations about the Fed, but part of it is just we're starting to realize that we're paying a little too much for our large caps. And so I think just on a relative value basis, there's a lot more potential for higher earnings. If we do see big tariffs, those multinational companies are more likely to get hit than a purely domestic company.
US-centric companies,
exactly. Right. So I think there are just a lot of things that can be a real nice tailwind for these guys. I should know this. My husband's a pilot. Tailwind for these stocks. And so I think this is just something where we can start to see relative outperformance over the next year or so.
I want to ask you about Bitcoin and all the different things. All new products are coming out there. I bet the first day of options trading was amazing. 1.9 billion notional value. Obviously, calls outpaced. 82% were calls. This kind of stuff, speaking of tailwinds, It seems like a tailwind for Bitcoin.
Yes, and again, it goes along with my line of just thinking about diversification, just thinking about some new options as we go into this new market era. And so with respect to Bitcoin and some of the currencies, look, just still a 1 to 2% allocation, but the momentum's there. And if we do see a new government that is a lot more favorable, reducing some of the regulatory issues, I think that sentiment is going to continue for some time.
And quickly, you like Canada? Oh, Canada? EWC? What's going on? I mean, it's a nice looking chart.
Diversification.
Does this mean Trudeau is out? I mean, what the heck?
Again, this is all part of just thinking about some other options besides your U.S. large cap stocks. Take some profits. Canada is just still very much a energy trade, natural resources.
Right.
So the reason why it's been doing so well has a lot to do with the administration being more favorable to less renewables.
And throwing Trudeau out. By the way, real quick, I want the audience to take a real quick look at Aaron's shirt. This is like, how do you say you're making money in the stock market without saying you're making money in the stock market? That shirt. I'm wearing that shirt tomorrow. Thanks a lot, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Charles.
All right, folks.